Welcome to my GCSE math lessons. I'm going to help you achieve whatever grade it is you want in your GCSE board exams. Please note I speak quickly, so it's best you don't skip parts of the video. They are short, so you can afford to stay focused. As for me, I graduated 2 years ago with A stars in all my subjects and a higher than 95 score in both math papers. As for what I look like, here's an original unfiltered picture of how I look in my dreams. We'll start learning from the ground up, first with types of numbers. The first type is the integer. Numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 500, 2000, -1, -5000, 0. They're all integers because they are whole numbers and they have no decimals. So if you see something like 1.2 or 2.5, you need to stop and say no, because those are not integers, because they're not whole numbers. Now we'll look at decimals. There are two kinds of decimals, terminating and recurring decimals. First, let's go over terminating decimals. Terminate means end. Terminating decimals have an end, for example, 0.5, 0.75, 0.1. Recurring means repeating. An example would be dividing 1 by 3 on your calculator. The answer would be 0.333333 and so on. Although your calculator is limited in the number of digits it can show you, take my word for it, the number of 3's is infinite. And because of these repeating 3's, this decimal is a recurring decimal. Another example would be dividing 143 by 999, which would give you 0.143, and so on. In this case, the repeating set of numbers is the 143, whereas in the previous example, it was only the single digit 3. Coming at you next, we have fractions. Fractions are one number divided by another. Easy, right? For example, if you have the number 2 divided by the number 3, you can write that as 2 over 3. Another example would be 1 over 2, which you usually use to mean half. One important thing to remember is that the denominator, which is the number on the bottom, can never be 0, because dividing by 0 is a mathematical impossibility, just like the chance of me getting a girlfriend. So fractions are also pretty simple. The three types of numbers that we've seen so far, integers, decimals, and fractions, fall into the category of rational numbers. They are nice, they're simple, that you've seen. On the opposite end, we have irrational numbers. These are kind of messy. Okay, very messy. These are numbers that cannot be written as fractions. They are never-ending, non-repeating decimals. An example of this would be the number pi. It cannot be represented as a fraction, and it has an infinite number of decimals. As you know, pi is never ending. It's 3.14 blah 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 blah. And what's more, it's not recurring because there's no set pattern that repeats itself in the decimals, like we had our 3's and our 143's. Since it is never ending, non-repeating, and can't be written as a fraction, it is an irrational number. Most of the irrational numbers that you will see are the square roots and other powers of roots of integers. For example, the square root of 2 is an irrational number. So is the square root of 3, and the square root of 5, and let's say the square root of 7, and so on. But don't forget that some square roots, like the square root of 4 and the square root of 9, are equal to integers. In this case, 2 and 3. That wraps it up for this lesson. Next up, we'll be talking about cubes and primes. That's a very short video. It'll take at most 3 minutes. So don't waste time. Go watch it right now.